Imagine being told, "Get ready to invade Europe tomorrow morning." And at the same time, your pilot buddy in New Guinea is dodging jungle bullets, while somewhere in Italy, B-26s drop bombs on rail yards that won't help you, yet. Welcome to the chaos of 1944.
It's early June 1944. For months, the Allied command has been gearing up for what they hope will be the decisive blow, the invasion of Nazi-occupied Western Europe. D-Day, the code name for the day when Allies stormed the beaches of Normandy, is about to unfold. Picture this: 6 June, dawn barely breaking, thousands of ships, landing craft, paratroopers, all converging on 5 heavily defended beaches. The Germans don't quite know where, but they know something is coming. The Allies hope this one massive gamble will force Germany to fight on 2 fronts and begin the end of the war in Europe. But while Normandy gets the headlines, let's pull the lens back. Because the war isn't just in France, it's in jungles, on islands, in the air. On the flip side of the globe, American and Australian forces are fighting in the Pacific. In Italy, Allied air power is pounding German supply lines. All parts of the same grand chessboard, sometimes the same piece.
So let's zoom in on June 6th. The Allies assembled their greatest amphibious operation in history. worldhistory.org. Ships, planes, gliders, tens of thousands of men. The strategy: secure a foothold in Normandy, establish a beachhead, push inland. The Germans, stretched thin, partly surprised by the scale, but still a formidable foe. The weather nearly sinks the whole thing. As the first waves hit the beaches, chaos reigns. Landing craft broached, heavy surf, pillboxes still firing. High cost, yet progress. For the Allied soldiers, there's no time to think, just act. Behind the scenes, Eisenhower and Churchill gamble that Hitler cannot shift reserves fast enough, that the pressure on the Western Front forces Germany to divert from the East. And if Normandy is the main show, the air war above, and the deception operations, dummy armies, fake radio traffic, are the unsung magic tricks. They aim to fool Hitler's high command about where the strike will land. The success of D-Day becomes the pivot. If it fails, Europe remains a fortress for Germany. It succeeds, well, then the momentum changes. For our journalist voice, here's the dry humor. The Allies spent more ships in that one day than some countries' entire navies, yet someone still forgot to print enough towels for the troops afterwards.
Now shift perspective. Thousands of miles east to the lush jungle of New Guinea, to Biak Island, Schouten Islands, Gilvink Bay. The date? Late May 1944. The Allies, under General Douglas MacArthur, aimed to capture airfields that will help leapfrog closer to the Philippines. On May 27th, American troops land on Biak. They expect moderate resistance. They get jungle, caves, entrenched Japanese defenders. The terrain? Thick scrub, high coral cliffs, a hot, steaming hell for amphibious troops. According to reports, the Japanese are nearly annihilated, but the Allied plan to seize airfields quickly is delayed. The cost? Thousands of casualties, many from disease, jungle conditions, and fanatical last stands. Here is where our sarcastic narrator sighs, yes, while Europe was busy planning Normandy, somewhere in the Pacific someone said, Hey, let's fight on an island covered in 10-foot jungle and seize runways the enemy knows about. Brilliant. What's the plan again? But the strategic logic is real. Get the airfields, support forthcoming operations, and cut off Japanese supply chains. Biak becomes one of those overlooked but crucial fights. You don't see it in the big blockbuster movies, but it mattered.
Now jump to Italy, April 11, 1944. Allied medium bombers from the Mediterranean Air Forces dropped tons of bombs on Italian rail yards. Specifically, the marshalling yards at Siena were hit by B-26s of the 17th Bomb Group. It was part of the larger Operation Strangle, aimed at cutting German supply routes in Italy so the Allied ground armies could break through the Gustav Line. On this day, the target might not be glamorous. No beach landings, no jungle war, but air power obliterates supply lines, tracks, bridges, rail hubs. Because war is logistic. Tanks and infantry march on ammunition and fuel, not just bravery.
So, what's the link between Normandy, Biak, and Italy? Supply lines, surprise, initiative. The Allies are moving on multiple fronts. Normandy pressures Germany's western flank. Italy ties up German divisions. The Pacific isolates Japan and secures forward airfields. Together, the global Allied hammer. As you might ask, was this tidy? No. Was it easy? Hell no. Was it coordinated? Kinda. Sorta. Enough. But the brilliance is, while Hitler looked at Normandy, the Allies were quiet in other theaters. Siege in one place, distraction in another. In war, the big flashy invasion is one part. The silent island battles and rail yard bombings are the other. They may not grab front-page headlines, but they enable the headline event. The capture of Biak ensures airfields. The bombing of Italian rail yards strangles German logistics. D-Day opens the gateway to Berlin. What our journalist narrator leaves you with: if someone tells you war is simple, ask them about Biak's jungle, or the Italian tracks, or the acres of Normandy sand and corpses. War is messy, but sometimes messy works. And so, as the Allies pour into Normandy, as American troops hack through jungle in New Guinea, as bombers roar over Italy, this becomes the turning point of 1944. Germany, overwhelmed from both east and west, and Japan, losing its Pacific chain, begin the slow unraveling. If you ask me, the real hero isn't just the soldier on the beach. It's the planner in the bunker, the bomber crew pulling the lever, the infantry wet with jungle sweat, and yes, the journalist telling the story. A little too dryly, a little sarcastically, because someone has to survive long enough to tell it.